Sup traders, I am reviewing my pre-market analysis that I've done for each days of the last week and identifying my thought process before going into the day and what kind of setups I could have potentially taken during that day. Just overall analyzing the kind of plays that were in play each day of the week, identifying some of the missed trades that I had that I missed, some potential trades that I couldn't take because it didn't meet my entry criteria, and some trades that I just don't have in my plan, but still I was anticipating or predicting those to play out and had played out. So I'm just going through each day. Going into the week, I was predicting price to come down to this weekly time frame. So let's go to weekly time frame. After taking these highs last week, 2 weeks ago, I was predicting price will come down and clear this fair value gap on the weekly time frame, especially the way we rejected the daily time frame market structure shift fair value gap during NFP. I was predicting price to come and clear the rest of this fair value gap on the daily time frame at 1.1, just above that 1.1 level, or even come down and clear the fair value gap below at 1.0950 level. So let's see how the market played out during the week. Because I was bearish for the week, obviously that means my setup can come out on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to look for shorts. And going into Monday, I was predicting maybe we'll get some small bullish candle. After Friday, just a small bullish candle, and then on Tuesday we'll take out the highs of Monday and then continue lower into my predicted direction. But come Monday, we opened the week, and before London session, price starting to displace lower. And after seeing that, I was not predicting price to put a small bullish candle or a small candle on Monday for price to take out that candle on Tuesday. I was predicting price to start finding supports at certain levels. So the drawn liquidity is still this low above these fair value gaps, and let's just go into lower time frames. Yeah, so as price starts to displace lower, 4 a.m. New York time. This is the 5 a.m. so this is the London close. I was anticipating some kind of a pullback going into New York session, and then we drop down into this swing low on the 60-minute, right above that 60-minute order block. I wasn't looking at this during the week, but it's something I was waiting for price to take out these lows and maybe provide some kind of a support. However, there was also the 60-minute order block that I could have marked out during the week that added another confluence to this swing low for price to find some kind of support. Lower time frame, we get that support. We take out a swing low during New York open, so 7:30, which is 12:30 UK time, not an ideal time for me to trade. Take out that low again, and that's more likely a better trading opportunity, and then we create market structure shift on the lower time frames, which is clearer. All right, take out this low, and then we take out this low, actually saying that 12:30, and then there could have been a potential trading opportunity after these lows were taken. And ideally I didn't want to take a trade because I was so bearish going into the day, so I'm not too concerned about this opportunity. The good thing about this is it is deep in discount, so of this range, NFP range, therefore it was likely to find some small support before coming back down. So Monday closed bearish, and I'm now anticipating price to drop down to next day going into Tuesday. I predicted price to clear out that fair value gap. Going into Tuesday morning, I had predicted that price might come into this week's 240 fair value gap, which is quite in discount, and most likely not, because of the fact that we also have 60-minute fair value gaps that price will have to get through first. So especially we had liquidity of this swing taken out on the 60-minute time frame, and then we displaced lower with these bearish fair value gaps, and I was anticipating or predicting price to come and hold this second fair value gap, which also happens to be in discount, and provide some kind of an entry, and I was hoping to go short from there. So London opened, the price pushed lower, which as predicted it will go down before going up to hold these fair value gaps. However, price put in this strong bullish candle, which was the 2 o'clock candle. So that's the 7 o'clock close candle for UK time, and that came up with this strong bullish close. And after seeing that closed above, which closed above this fair value gap, to me, especially with this such a strong candle, I just didn't want to go short anymore. But I've said it many times that whenever I'm looking for a direction, so bias going into Tuesday was short, have a clear drawn liquidity, price will always, or most of the time, come up with a sharp move into a higher time frame PDOA and find resistance before dropping down, which also happens to be at a 50-minute fair value gap. So the highest fair value gap is also held in the 50-minute time frame right there, and then straight after that, price puts in this bearish engulfing candle on the 50-minute, and then we see rejections of this fair value gap, and then price just consolidates for a bit after that, and then tanks again during New York session after taking out liquidity off this session high. Again, another pullback, drop down, and then we finally drop down to my prediction of the week, which was at the fair value gaps. One thing looking in hindsight is that price came and held this 240 order block during this session, during the 1 a.m. session. So had I zoomed out and seen that, which is something I don't really look at order blocks, but which is something I can add into my arsenal. Seen that, I could have anticipated a pullback of some sort and look for a shorting opportunities going into New York, especially when we take out this swing high, which is a perfect area for look for shorting opportunities. We take out another high here. Regardless, right, because we also had taken out this swing high, this range right here, anyway, within this range after a sharp turn, sharp bullish leg up, would have been a perfect opportunity to go short. So after seeing this candle is when I want to be going short. And I can put my stops above these highs, because ideally price should not take out these this liquidity candle high with my targets at the 50% off the weekly time frame fair value gap. And that's that for Tuesday London session. Because I was anticipating price to come to this 50% off the weekly time frame fair value gap, as soon as it came down to that level, I took a long around here with my stops down to this low. I targeted these highs. However, that was an aggressive entry, because of the fact that we have another fair value 50% consequent encroachment off that weekly time frame fair value gap right there. And ideally, I should wait for price to come down to that low before looking for any opportunities to go long, and hence why I exited that trade straight away. And then what do we get? We get the exact trade that I would want to take is here. And then we hold that a couple of times. Ideally, even if you don't want to take it straight away, you can wait for another candle to hold and then look for an entry. And targets, small targets, no need to aim for too high. Going into Wednesday, I was predicting that price might find pull back deeper because it was CPI day during CPI, and then come down and take out more of these lows. But as I was doing my pre-market analysis in the morning, I saw price starting to push up beforehand and saw that it was pushed back up to previous day's highs, and was predicting that maybe price will pull back into these fair value gaps that displaced after rejecting these 50% of the weekly time frame and daily time frame fair value gap at 1.105, 1.1015, and maybe we'll find support around here, this 1.103, and then push up higher before New York session. But given how bearish we were, we took out previous day's highs, and ideally on a trend trades on a weekly time frame, either Tuesday or Wednesday, if we have previous day's highs taken out, it's most likely that price will continue in this bearish direction. The only reason I didn't want to go bearish right now was because of the fact that we rejected these 50% off these daily time frame and weekly time frame consequent encroachment, fair value gaps consequent encroachment. But we made a high on previous day's highs before London Open, came up, took out liquidity off that high, and then started to displace lower, and then price pulled back, held, and it was CPI coming out at 12:30, so I wasn't going to enter any trades. Took out liquidity one more time during New York Open, and then tanked during CPI. Price continued to drop, took out London at New York's low one more time at that fair value gaps lows, daily time frame and weekly time frame fair value gaps low at almost close to 1.1, and then started to provide some market structure shift followed by displacement. And if you were looking to trade, there could have been a pullback trading opportunity potentially around here at 618, stops below these lows, and you could target some fair value gaps in this zone, 50% of this fair value gap, or at least the highs of this candle right there. That was one of the trades that I'd missed, mainly because of the fact that I was watching 1,000 different pairs at the same time, and all of them were at the exact same location as this, and deep in fair value gaps. All the dollar correlated pairs were deep in discount in a weekly time frame bullish order flow at a weekly time frame and daily time frame fair value gaps, and we're providing the similar kind of play on all the 5-minute time frames, and it was just a bit overwhelming. So ideally, I don't want to be watching too many pairs, especially when we have CPI coming out, and I want to be in that trade. So watching just one pair or two pairs is ideal, and then price plays out, pushes, clears that high out, pulls back. Oh no, let's do next day again. Let's do next day first. So CPI candle, we rejected the highs of Tuesday and also, took out the lows of Tuesday, which normally provides some kind of a hint that we are in for a reversal, especially at key levels, especially when we are in a strong bullish order flow, deep in discount of this range. Cleared out the weekly time frame fair value gap. Also, it looks like we're clearing out the weekly time frame fair value gap so far. Only problem I had here was we closed below this daily time frame fair value gap. Sorry, it was there, daily time frame fair value gap, and we also closed below the order block of this daily time frame, the start of the daily time frame order block, and that kind of threw me off going into next day for any bullish trades. So Wednesday morning, I was watching the low of this level for liquidity to be taken out, to look for opportunities to go long, mainly because we are in this range at a key POI. And usually when there's another swing low inside that range, at these levels, price will essentially take out the liquidity of the first swing inside that range and find support. But because my higher time frame would close below that daily time frame fair value gap on the daily, and inside that order block, I was predicting maybe we'll get a deeper retracement into at least that 50% off the daily order block and find some kind of a support. And because of that, I was quite hesitant on taking any trades after price took out this liquidity right there. Not yet. Here. Also, we got a fake microstructure shift just before we took out that low, where price will trap buyers and then they take them out, and then we take out liquidity, and then we start to displace higher. So ideally could have taken the entry on the pullback, or even this engulfing candle, but that would have provided a weak risk reward. And then price starts to find bullish support. We also had EU interest rate news coming out that day, so I didn't really want to be entering any trades just before it, in case of liquidity, price pushes down, takes out liquidity off the lows before finding support. So yeah, that was one of the main reasons I was hesitant on taking any of these trades. Price then pushes up, closes above this bearish fair value gap, and finds strong bullish momentum on Thursday. Also going into Thursday, I was watching this range on the weekly time frame and saw that 50% of that range lined up with the 50% of the daily time frame order blocks consequent encroachment, and I was predicting or anticipating price to come down and clear that 50% before finding support, which it didn't, and price pumped up, closing above this bearish fair value gap and pushed up. Also going into Thursday, because I thought price was quite bearish and we could reach that daily time frame order blocks consequent encroachment, which happens to be at the 50% off the weekly time frame range, this range right here, I was predicting maybe we'll find some opportunities to go short at this 240 fair value gap, which also aligns with the swing highs on the 60-minute. And I was predicting price to come up to those highs during the London session, which it does. We had the ECB interest rate at this time at the 1:15 UK time, and also had this core PPI, so obviously I wanted to wait for that to come out. That was around 8:30, and then we had the PPI come out at 8:30. Price pushed up into that 50% off that fair value gap on the daily 240 time frame. However, as price started to displace higher, I started to zoom out higher on the higher time frames and noticed, where we just rejected price at a key POI on the weekly time frame and daily time frame, and found some bullish support. Price failed to close below this low. Price had failed to close below this low as well previously. So price is refusing to go lower. So that just to me shows we might not actually be bearish going into the day. Hence why I stopped looking for any shorting opportunities. And then price starts to push up higher, and that closed Thursday in a strong bullish candle. Going into Friday, I had a clear draw on liquidity. So these highs at 1.109, which also happens to be, this is a daily time frame order block. So just below that consequent encroachment. So ideally, potentially that consequent encroachment could also hit at 1.1 level, a good psychological level for price to find some resistance. I noted these fair value gaps on the 240. So Ideally, I wanted price to come and tap the low of this and tap into this fair value gap, because the first one is, most likely will be cleared. And when I dropped down lower to 60-minute time frame, I saw another swing low on the 60 right there, right, which made me stop looking at this fair value gap and concentrate more on the second fair value gap on the 60-minute time frame instead of the first one. I was watching the second one above this, this pause order block, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I was waiting for price to come down to that fair value gap before it took out the drawn liquidity, of course. And here we go, we came down at 2 a.m, right? So this is a perfect time to look for trading opportunities. 5-minute, we started to show some hold. I wanted to see, especially after a pause like this during London session, you want to see a sharp bearish candle like this, which takes out liquidity off all of this low. And then we also left this fair value gap right there, and then we look for an entry. And this candle, even this candle would have been great, but this candle even better, with targets back up to these highs, even if to that drawn liquidity, or these highs first, or even New York session highs, and we've stopped to break even. But I'm not sure what happened here. I was again watching way too many fucking pairs. I had about 5 pairs on the go, all doing the same thing, and when something like that happens, it's almost too overwhelming. And I didn't take this entry on Friday, which is a perfect setup that I normally wait for. I think it was the fact that I was concentrating on this 240 fair value gap as well. Ideally, it should be like this, that if I take this trade here and it moves down and takes out the 240 fair value gap, then I take that loss and I re-enter, because that provides even better opportunity. And then of course price just pumps, takes out that order blocks 50% during, before New York session, and then price displaces lower. New York session goes up and takes out that high again one more time, and then drops on Friday. Missing trades like this is what pisses me off, because I know my trades well enough that I should be entering something like this. It's just the fact that I had too many pairs on the go. Watching too many pairs is way too overwhelming. Can't really focus on just one pair. And also I think I was waiting for SMT with GU on this, because I took a trade with GU SMT the day before and EU SMT on GU the day before, and it was a perfect trade. And I wanted to see some kind of SMT again here, and it doesn't have to be SMT, especially this between 3 o'clock and 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. man. It's a perfect opportunity. We've taken Asian lows, we've again accumulated during London, did that low at a key POI on the 1 hour time frame and found strong support. We find support afterwards. But yeah, that's a good trade, just missed it.